All right. Good day, everybody. Today we'll be discussing mobile devices and networking as it relates to CompTIA A plus concepts. So, some common IT and mobile device tasks would just be, setting up Wi-Fi permissions, signing into the Wi-Fi network, signing into email, setting like work apps up and enrolling them into work permissions. A lot of the time, even if you have like front end of it, you're gonna have to do some IT work on the back end to actually allow whatever device that your client is using to actually sign in. You're gonna be doing a lot of troubleshooting, figuring out why Wi-Fi doesn't work, why it doesn't connect to the network. There are millions of reasons, honestly, why someone's service might not be working or why a phone might be acting funny. Most of the time, it just boils down to misconfigured network settings, or honestly, with phones, battery issues will make phones just start doing all kinds of weird stuff. A couple of different common types of networking for mobile devices would be you got Bluetooth for short range, for short range communication between like peripherals, like devices like keyboards, headsets, not really monitors, but usually it's going to be audio or like a mouse or a keyboard for Bluetooth. You also have Wi-Fi, which is the one that most people are most familiar with, although most of everybody's going to know what Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular are. But Bluetooth is going to be your medium range. It's going to be for accessing the internet, so it's going to be for wide area network connectivity. But also you can use it for a local network, so it could be WAN or LAN. And yeah, it's going to be medium range. You can have pretty long range Wi-Fi, but most of the time, if you are, I'd say, more than 100 feet away from the router, you are not going to be getting a very good connection. The third type would be cellular connections, can be run off of a cell tower. That's going to be what it's mostly used for phone calls, mobile data, mobile internet. That's going to be very long range. You just need to be, I don't know exactly what it is. It's usually within like 10 miles of a cell tower. So I pulled that number out of my head. I honestly have no idea how far it can be, but it can be pretty far from a cell tower. It'll usually still pick up. It might be kind of slow. And within cell tower, even within Wi-Fi, there's multiple different kinds. So over Wi-Fi, you usually have 2.5 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz. And then for cell towers, you got LTE, 3G, 4G, 5G, and then there's 5G wideband, 5G fast, 5G slow, different kinds, different flavors. Most devices are backwards compatible with cellular, but it's not always forward compatible. So if it's a 4G device, it might not always be able to do 5G. And then also not noted on here, but a lot of major phone carriers, T-Mobile, pretty much are rolling out satellite. So think Starlink. Basically the same thing as all the other ones you discussed, except it, as of right now, does not do data. It's just phone calls and texts, and it's for when you are out in the middle of nowhere and you have no cell service. If you've got satellite coverage, you will pretty much be covered anywhere on Earth as long as you can see the sky. So indoors probably not going to be great for that. So why do we have to use IT, and why do we need IT personnel to be setting up devices? Usually it boils down to permissions and security. A lot of the time, IT isn't really going to be doing something that is incredibly complicated. But the thing is, you can't just have anyone able to access, changing phone numbers, changing emails, stuff like that. So it's good to just have a small staff of people that are responsible for that stuff being changed. So yeah, mostly boils down to permissions and security. And just gonna run over a couple basic cable types. USB, Universal Serial Bus. There's a million different flavors of USB. Most people are familiar or most familiar with the rectangular one, the kind of boxy squared off one. That would be USB type A, I want to say USB A. There's also USB B, there's USB C, which is common on cell phones. There's micro USB, which is common on old cell phones. Other cables, headphone jack is 3.5 mil. There are different flavors of pretty much every type of cable. So I won't hassle too much on going over those, but for monitors, you're going to be using HDMI or display ports. You got your regular power cables. But yeah, the ones you need to know is just USB-C. That's the important one, and that is mobile devices and networking.